Welcome to the Medical Education Information session. Before we start, we want to inform you that this session is being recorded and will be shared on the ICE YouTube channel, and the recording will be sent to all who registered for the event after the session. My name is Laura Aston. I'm Head of Academic Centre Administration at the Institute of Continuing Education at the University of Cambridge. We're also known as ICE. In the panel, we have myself and Dr. Winston, Academic Director for the Medical Education Programme, and we will have colleagues from the marketing team supporting the Q&A. This week, we've been running a variety of online sessions to give you an opportunity to find out about our STEM courses at the Institute of Continuing Education. This session starts with information about the courses we offer within the Medical Education Programme, and there'll be a Q&A session afterwards with our students. In addition to our live sessions, we also have a number of video resources on our website, giving you further information on funding options, the application process, college matriculation if you want to apply to the MST, student support and interview preparation. If you missed any of our sessions or are unavailable to attend, then you can watch the recordings, which will be available on our website 24 hours after each event. Links to events and resources are shared in the chat, and we will also be sending these out via email after the session. So a little bit about the Institute. The Institute of Continuing Education was established 150 years ago in 1873. We were the first university-led continuing education provider in the world. Today, we offer a wide range of courses to adult learners, including short online and residential weekend courses, international summer programs, and award-bearing part-time undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications, covering a number of areas from archaeology to genomic medicine. We also act as the admitting body for all MST courses within the University of Cambridge, with our MST students becoming members of a college upon commencement of their course. ICE is a place where professional networks are formed, friendships are made, and the transformative power of learning is recognised. Upon acceptance of an offer for the MST, if you choose to go on to the MST in Medical Education, you'll become a member of a University of Cambridge college, which will grant you the same level of support of full-time college students. As well as having access to standard college resources, you will be allocated a college tutor who will be responsible for your welfare and pastoral support, and your college will confirm arrangements such as your university card, matriculation and graduation events. We work with a number of different colleges across our MST courses. The MST in Medical Education will be matriculated with Winston College for 24-25. If you already have a pre-existing affiliation with a college, you will be able to state this in your application. Watch our informative video for more information on our college partnerships and to hear from the colleges themselves. We will provide a link to this video within the chat. For postgraduate students, so those who go on to the postgraduate certificate or diploma in medical education, you are non-matriculated members of the university. So you do not receive college membership until you go on to the MST. Therefore, the welfare and pastoral support is largely managed by ICE, although some wider university services will still be available to you. The teams at ICE also organise your university cards and course completion celebrations. All students, regardless of whether you are a PG certificate student, diploma student or MST student, are able to approach their course teaching teams or administration teams for support at any time. So a little about today's session. In this pre-recorded course information session, we have myself, as I've said, Head of Academic Centre Administration, and Dr. Winston, Academic Director for the Medical Education Programme. We will also have a member of the ICE marketing team monitoring the Q&A to answer your questions. Shortly, we will walk you through what you can expect from the medical education programme, including entry requirements, teaching style, module content and assessment. At the end of the presentation, our enrolment team will take you through what kind of support we can provide during your application. We've reserved time at the end of the session to answer your questions, so please send us your questions for any member of the team via the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen during the presentation. I will now hand you over to my colleague, Dr. Cal Winston, Academic Director for the Medical Education Programme.
So, hello everybody. My name is Dr. Calman Winston. I'm the Academic Director for the Medical Education suite of courses. Medical education is for all healthcare professions educators. The title is medical education, but in fact we have students on the course who are currently working as doctors, paramedics, dentists, vets, physicians associates, nurses, across the whole range of the health professions. The main entry requirement is that you are currently teaching in your profession and you have more than 1 year teaching experience. So we're very open. Although the majority of people are clinicians, it's not everyone. Okay. So the teaching approach, it's mostly in-person teaching. There's, I think, each term there may be 1 day that's online, if that. And for the most part, we do in-person teaching of 2-day blocks or single days spread throughout each term. And that's across the 3 years. The focus is on the content and the process. And what I mean by that is, as well as teaching about education, we are modeling how to do it. So the conversations go back and forth between what we've learned and how we're teaching it and learning it. We follow, it's a very interactive process. It's very student-centered, learner-focused. We are looking to draw, you all come in with a whole wealth of experience, and we want to draw on that experience to have conversations, to have dialogues, and learn constructively together. There's a lot of small group work and individual work. As well as the whole classroom-based thing, each person is a member of, well, for the certificate and the diploma, a small group with a single course tutor who's your supervisor, or in the MSc you get a one-to-one supervisor. There's a lot of peer learning, as I've said. We try to contextualize the teaching. So although we're teaching some generic education and medical education concepts and ideas and theories, all the activities give you an opportunity to contextualize the learning into your own specific health professions context, and all the assessments give you the opportunity to draw on your own experience, devise interventions in your own teaching. It's very flexible. It's a very flexible approach. We draw a lot on ideas on reflection, developing feedback literacy, and to supplement the in-person teaching, there are opportunities for discussions on the virtual learning environment. We use Moodle. There's all sorts of activities and readings. There's a lot going on, but hopefully not so much that you can't manage it around your other commitments. So we're very, very aware that everyone has a lot of commitments too. So it's tailored around that. Let me give you an idea of the program structure. It's a 3-year program, but you sign up for 1 year at a time. So initially you sign up for the postgraduate certificate, which is 60 credits. If you successfully complete that, you can continue to the postgraduate diploma. If you successfully complete that, you can continue to the MST. And progression is just dependent on the completion of the previous year. And as I've said already, there's 2 or 3 days of teaching plus 1 assessment in each of 3 terms each year. Right, slightly very different for each of the courses. About to come on to that. So in the postgraduate certificate, the first module, so we have teaching days at the beginning of October, in November and December. There's an introduction to teaching and education theory and thinking about fundamental skills of teaching in medical education, clinical education. And then we talk about how we apply those teaching skills to our practice. And there's practical teaching opportunities. There's opportunities for peer observation of each other's teaching, and opportunities to give each other feedback on your teaching. There's also discussion around work-based assessment. You can see the dates on there. And then in the 3rd module of that year, it's all about assessment, evaluation, and feedback, which obviously in teaching, assessment is important. Feedback is equally important. And I think we spend a lot of time learning to give feedback, giving you feedback, you giving each other feedback. We do a lot of work with that. There are 2 major written assessments, about 4,000 words each. Don't panic, that's very doable. One's about how your choice of learning theories and what you think about them. And the final assessment of the year is about your educator journey. So it's very much about you and how you have learned. And we also ask you to do a reflection on some peer observation of teaching. That's the postgraduate certificate. Then there's the diploma. Very similar structure, 3 modules through the year, similar amount of teaching time. I think there's very little that's not in person there. The first module's on curriculum and assessment and how you design and develop curriculum, how you design assessments. Then we talk about work-based learning, and we're talking about developing practice and becoming a leader, a mentor, and a coach, how you can help others develop their educational practice. Again, there's some written assessments, there's reflection on, you do a peer review of each other's project plans and you reflect on the peer reviews, on the peer review process. You have to design an educational intervention, not implement yet, but design it and explore the design and think about how you might do it and why. And then there you create, in the final assessment, you create a portfolio of your educational practice and write a reflection on why you've chosen what you've chosen and how that shows, again, something about how you developed as an educator. And then the final year, the MST is a research project, essentially. And it takes your dissertation year. You spend the first module working on your project idea and thinking about how to design the project, write a research proposal. We have a couple of teaching days, plus you get an opportunity to attend the ASME Research in Medical Education Conference, which is a lovely day out in London. Module 2 is developing your research ethics application, thinking about how you collect and analyze data. A couple of days in person, a day on Zoom. And module 3, by that time, hopefully you have gone considerable way to completing your project work, and we spend those 2 days essentially as a writing retreat, helping each other develop and write up their dissertations. And that's that. The whole course is designed to meet GMC standards, and it's the Association of Medical Educators accredited. So we strongly hold by these core medical educator values, and hopefully you come out being able to do these. Although it's not accredited by Advanced HE, the course prepares you very well for making an individual application at the fellowship level of HEA. And we can support you doing that too. Core teaching team, a wide range of people. I've listed some, there are many others here. There's myself, there's Dr. Jeremy Webb, Nick Schindler, Mark Lillicrat. Most of these work within the Cambridge University Clinical School. Some are from outside. There's a wide range of people, and all are very keen to help you, and all are very experienced medical educators, and a few are graduates of this course, so you have the benefit of people who have been there, done that, and can really help you work through it.
Thank you so much, Cal. We're now going to end the pre-recorded section of this session and hand over to the enrolments team, who are going to lead on the Q&A. Okay, I hope everyone found that useful and informative. So I'm joined by Gurnham, who is one of our students. Thank you ever so much for joining. So we're going to have a look at the Q&As that have come through. So let's have a look. So again, and this might be one that you can help me with. You could start by perhaps just giving us a bit of background about where you are in the course and what your background is. But the question that's coming is, how much interaction will I get with other students on the course outside of my teaching? What's your experiences of that been?
Fabulous, thank you. So I'm currently on the MST program, having done the cert and the diploma, with some gaps in between those. And I would say, to answer the question around interaction with peers outside of the formal classroom setting, it's been really, from the get-go, I think with all of the cohorts that I've been part of, it's been kind of commonplace for us to create a kind of WhatsApp group, and have informal conversations, kind of debriefs, ask each other questions in a kind of safe space through that mechanism, and then often meet for kind of coffees when we're around, kind of on teaching days, etc. Yeah, just to kind of continue the conversation around particular topics, support each other on bits kind of unsure of, but also as kind of fellow educationalists just kind of chew the cud a bit around stuff and continue that kind of friend professional relationship going forwards. So yeah,
Great. That's really great to hear. And I think that's one of the big selling points of doing a course at ICE is that we're very much geared towards part-time study with busy professionals and trying to create a community that's very collaborative and supportive of each other. So that's really lovely to hear. And you said that you've progressed along all of you've done all the options. How have you found that progression?
Really good. I think initially I'd only set out to do the cert.
Okay.
That was my initial goal. And I think that really was coming from a point of view of having been in kind of teaching positions within academic institutions, but kind of, that known unknowns matrix. There was a lot in that unknown bits that I was kind of cognizant of. So I just felt actually I wanted to take the opportunity to really get some good grounding, I think, in kind of medical education overall. So the cert felt like a nice entry point into doing that. And I would say, as Cal had kind of said on the previous recording, it did help me to kind of get a really good understanding of the kind of theoretical underpinnings and kind of reflect on my own praxis through the kind of tasks that we were set, and then have that relationship with peers as well to kind of discuss things, etc. And then from there on, it kind of stimulated my interest for kind of applying them for the next phase of it, which was which was a lot more around the kind of workplace environment. We did some action learning sets. There was a lot around curriculum and assessment, and the opportunity then to design an educational intervention with support and feedback from kind of our mentors and peers as well was really helpful. And then I thought I may as well just go the whole hog and do.
You're nearly there, you might as well.
And that's the exciting bit of kind of doing something that is an innovation or an intervention and having the support of thinking through something that is quite daunting. You want to make a change and you want to make sure that it's grounded in theory and educational theory. And how do you kind of measure the impact of that, et cetera, et cetera. So doing that in a supportive way where you, again, can discuss with peers, et cetera. So for me, it felt like a natural continuation and having these various communities of practice from the different cohorts that I've been in, touch base with on those things, and then apply. That's one of the big sells, I think, for me, has been applying what I've learned into what I'm doing day to day as an educationalist. So it kind of fits with the schedule. So I kind of I got on the train and just continued on the journey.
But I think that's one of the real benefits of having these pathways. You're not having to commit to a number of years of study all at once. You can take your time, you can do it in small, manageable chunks, and then see how it goes. So it's not as daunting as an entire degree.
For sure.
Okay, let's have a look at another question. So what have previous students gone on to do after completing the course? So they've had various sort of outcomes from this course. So some people have progressed on to different awards. Some people have gone on to potentially PhDs. Some people have taken the skills and the knowledge that they've learnt and applied them in their own area of expertise, which has seen them develop a particular area of their work, or has contributed to them gaining promotion. Some of our students have loved it so much that they've become tutors on the course. It's definitely a really real community feel here. So I think once you're with us, you want to stay as long as you can. Where in Cambridge does the teaching take place? So we're very lucky at ICE in that we are based at Madingley Hall, which is a beautiful rural historic building, beautiful grounds, beautiful building. So a lot of the medical education teaching takes place there. However, we do also use a number of venues across Cambridge in departments and in colleges. So there's an opportunity to really get into the heart of the university as well. Is there any specific experience that I should have that would benefit my application onto the course? So obviously with the medical education course, there is an expectation that you have teaching as part of your current role. You've had experience of, Cal said, I think at least 1 year's experience of teaching. So that is an important element. You also need to have an undergraduate degree and come from some sort of healthcare background, which Cal explained within the presentation. But with the application process, we're really not here to try and turn people away. We want people to join us. We want to try and help people excel in their field. So there's nothing specific apart from those two elements of the education and the teaching experience, really. What was your experience, Gurnham, of the application process and the interview?
It was really positive, actually. I would say, yeah. I think from recollection, there's a short statement that's required, 2 or 3 questions for each of the cert, diploma, and MST. So it's not too onerous. I think just pulling out the relevant bits of your experience and how the course will benefit you as an individual is really helpful. I think to kind of really pull out in your application. But yeah, and then the interview process was very friendly. The panel was really friendly, and as you said, Laura, really supportive. They weren't trying to kind of trick you. They just wanted to kind of unpick a bit more about what you'd written in your application. If anything, I'd say one tip probably is cutting down the number of characters that's required for the application, because it's a lot smaller than, there's a fewer number of words or characters than you think are needed. So you have to be really succinct in what you're saying. And then the panel will kind of unpick some of that during your interview.
That's really good to hear about the interview, because we do want it to be a discussion and understand and help you to understand why you want to join the course, and help you to understand what the course will mean in terms of that juggle of part-time study and work. So it's good to hear that it wasn't too stressful. Okay, let's have a look, see if we've got any more questions in. Okay, so what happens if I cannot attend one of the teaching sessions? So luckily, obviously post-COVID, we've gone back to pretty much entirely in-person teaching. As Cal said, there's a couple of teaching days each term as part of a module, and then you've got VLE activities, you've got reading set, reflective logs to keep, and that sort of thing. I think whilst we're sympathetic to the fact that you are going to be a busy working professional, and so we will try and put measures in place, recordings, that sort of thing, if you're unable to miss teaching. But I think the emphasis really is that you attend everything in order to get the most out of the course. Gurnham, I don't know when you started the postgraduate certificate, but I don't know whether it was affected by COVID at all, and how's it been going back to the fully in-person teaching?
Yeah, it was almost entirely online for the
right
and the diploma. I think we had a bit more in person, and then the masters has been much more in person.
Yeah.
And I would say each has given a different kind of experience. So
yeah,
when it was more online, we had a lot, as I said, we had that community
yeah,
to kind of share that experience, because it was a slightly different experience. However, I would say nothing beats being in Mattingly, in the room with your peers. It sounds really cliche, but those coffee moments. And by the way, they give fantastic tea and coffee and biscuits and cakes and lunch, like incredible. And yeah, just having those moments to walk around the gardens at Madingley and just
Yeah.
all of that stuff. You learn so much from your cohort because
Mhm.
we all come from a range of different backgrounds. So it's just really, yeah, I think that's the benefit and the beauty of being in person. I would also say on one of your points, Laura, around the VLE, it is really well structured in terms of there's this online space that really clearly signposts you to the readings that you need to do, what's critical if you're time short before a session, what's optional. And so it really, you can fit it into a busy schedule. I wouldn't worry too much around panicking about having to do loads and loads of reading, etc., because it's accessible to people who have multiple things going on. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would say that.
That's great. And I think the team are very aware of, you know, the cohort having to juggle various commitments, and they want to try and be accommodating and supportive and help you get the most out of the course in a realistic way. Right, okay, let's just have a look, see if I think we've dealt with everything that we need to do question-wise. So thank you again, and thank you ever so much for joining. It's been really lovely speaking to you. Thank you everybody for attending this evening. If you have any inquiries, then you can email inquiries@ice.cam.ac.uk, or you can email the medical education team. Our email address is meded@ice.cam.ac.uk. Thank you very much and have a lovely evening.